You're not going to be successful because you built a bunch of different funnels. You're not going to be successful because you built a whole bunch of different ways for people to work with you or to find out about you. You're going to be successful because you genuinely help people. We're going to be talking all about how do you build a wait list for your business, for your coaching business. I'm seeing some good mornings from our amazing community members inside of Clients Over Chaos, which is where all of our library of these weekly trainings live. So if you're watching this on Instagram or anywhere else, make sure that you go to next5clients.com to get the full replay and the show notes and all of those details. If you have been looking to have a wait list or at least a very steady flow of clients, then this episode is absolutely for you. And if we haven't met before, my name is Amanda Kaufman and I'm the founder of the Coaches Plaza, and I ditched corporate almost a decade ago to build an entrepreneurial coaching business. And I, for one, was incredibly surprised by how much work was actually involved in building a coaching business because, I got my certifications and did all of that kind of thing. And I was really under the impression that if I qualified, then the world would open up to me and I would have like people begging to be on my list as coaches. I got very prestigious certifications. Yes, 2 coaching certifications. And I was absolutely convinced that if I was just good enough as a coach, then people would find me. And I am a big believer in magic. I love magical experiences. But I'm here to tell you that there's usually a little trick or two up the sleeve of the magician, right? Magic is a beautiful experience, and if you're building a real business, it's probably rooted in some genuine systems. And it took me quite a bit more investment, time, energy, money to learn the business of coaching. And when I learned the business of coaching, guess what? I turned around and built a 6-figure income within just 4 months. And the big difference was that I had the systems and the tools. And to this day, we still are generating that revenue. And I share that with you not to impress you, but rather to impress upon you that a system is absolutely required for longevity of a coaching business. So shout out system if you're ready to geek out, nerd out with me. I'm super pumped that you're here. And we're going to be going through a few things today. One, I want to just deal with some of the myths that you've probably been sold, or maybe some of your coachy friends who are still figuring it out are probably repeating over and over again. I love it. You guys are super into having a system. So good. So we're going to go over some myths first, and then we're going to walk through a 3-part system that is going to help you to create that wait list of clients that you've been looking for, or maybe spark a flow of clients. So the first thing is like the myths around marketing. I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about the myths around marketing because there are just so many. But let's be real. Most coaches think that getting more clients simply means doing more content. And I hear a version of this all the time. It's, I wish I was more consistent. Oh my God, my life is just so lifey and it's lifing all over me. I'm having to put my attention on my life. And, with love, that is an excuse because the truth is that you are really consistent. The question is, are you going to be consistent with being surprised that your life is showing up, or are you going to be consistent with building your business? Option 1, consistent with making excuses. Option 2, consistent with serving people, having an impact, and generating an income. And yes, there is a correct answer on this particular one, right? And here's the thing, like I built my business when I was pregnant with our youngest. I launched the business in full while I was on maternity leave, and I remember being just like bleary-eyed tired. And it was actually such a blessing because it let me cut the crap. It let me cut all the bullshit of the things that, and pardon my language, but I was so exhausted of my own excuses because I was exhausted of everything. I was breastfeeding a young baby. And I share that with you because I think For some of you, you're looking at your exhaustion, your tiredness as being the obstacle. And I'm saying, like, how could it actually be one of the greatest blessings ever? Because tired and exhausted, you know what I did? I just went to LegalZoom and formed the LLC. For 6 months before I formed my LLC, I had this big idea, this big, scary, catastrophic idea of what it meant to build a business entity. And when I was sleep deprived, breastfeeding, just like so not in bad boss bish mode, I was exhausted of my own excuses. And I was like, look, I'm just going to Google this thing. And no kidding, 45 minutes later, I had my LLC on the way. 45 minutes later, and I think I spent a couple $100. Absolutely the biggest letdown of the most not all that exciting of a experience after 6 months of telling myself that I couldn't do it, right? Here's what tired gives you, ladies. Here's what tired gives you. It gives you prioritization. Everybody told me when I was going to have kids that I was going to lose focus on my career and that I would not be a good mom and I would not be a good coworker. And let me tell you something. You want to get something done, give it to a mom, right? Because here's what they're really good at. They may be exhausted, right? They may be tired. They are amazing at prioritization because they have to. They have to. They have to prioritize. And if you let on board other people's opinions about how you're not going to be able to do this, about how the real reason, the real flaw with you is that you're just not consistent or you're just not disciplined, I'm going to give you an alternative theory today. I think you're just not clear, right? I think you're not clear. You're not clear about who you want to serve. You're not clear about what you want to say to that person. You're not clear about why this is so important to you. You're not clear about what your authentic priorities are. And you do have a few things that you are clear on. You're clear about what your role has been so far, right? You're clear about that. If you're just like, yeah, I know, like, I know how to be a wife. I know how to be, a spouse. I know how to be a mother. I know how to be a daughter. I know how to be whatever your last job was, right? Like, you know that. You understand that. So it's clear. So then you default to that program, right? Here's the thing. Now you've got something new, right? Your issue is not consistency with your marketing and visibility. Your issue is you're being inconsistent with yourself. Boom, there it is on a Monday. You're being inconsistent with yourself, right? So I want you to declare right now in the chat, I am an expert. I am a coach. I am a business owner. Whatever resonates with you on this day on a Monday, you're not going to get more clients because you post like a maniac. You're going to get more clients because you are elevating the visibility of your authenticity. You're elevating the visibility of your authenticity. But it starts with you being real about you and being real about who you are and who you are becoming, right? And yes, there you go. I'm an expert coach. I'm also a business owner. Amazing, right? And it's that declarative statement. You could literally post that as a post on social media. Boom, done today, right? Boom, done today. And like, I think a lot of times we get totally worked up that it's not good enough, it's not pretty enough, it's not whatever enough. And that's just a bunch of malarkey. I always get a little confused between malarkey and malarkey. I don't know. But here's what I'm saying. Like, the myth is that you are a bad human because you are just not honoring commitments because you're an undisciplined fool. And I think that is some BS. And so I'm calling it. It's just it's not true. Let's move on to the second one. The second one is really that if you know exactly who you're helping, then they're going to just find you. Right? So everybody knows about the ideal avatar, right? Is this like a new idea to anybody here on this live? Right? Let me know if it's like your first time hearing you need to have an ideal client avatar, right? So if that's all you needed, then you would be off to the races. But again, this is where coaches keep themselves super stuck. They get really overthinky about what that ideal is. So I really want you to know, you already know. You already know. And here's how I know you already know. You already judge other people you don't like. I think of the ideal client avatar as pretty much the opposite of all the people I don't like. Right? So I don't like scammers. I don't like sleazy people. I don't like lazy people. Right? So flip it. I like honest people. I like people that are here for impact. I like people who are truth tellers and authentic, right? So you already actually know your ideal avatar. You're hiding behind being judged for what it is. Right? So you're hiding behind being judged for what it is. So I would like for you right now, because I'm a coach, so I like to coach in my lives. I'd like you to write down in the comments exactly who you love to work with. Just a trait, a quality, right? I love working with people who love investing in themselves. I love working with people who love to get better at what they do. I'm just doing some of mine. Maybe that'll inspire you. I love working with people who are building an expert service-based business. I love people who are taking care of other people and worry about doing a good job. I love that, right? That person is ideal. So go ahead and just like share what's a trait, what's a quality of this ideal person. Yeah. Okay. So Lynn, I think we could condense what you just said into I love working with the rebel, right? I love working with a rebel. Let's see. Allison said, I love people who are growth minded, willing to invest in their own growth. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, growth orientation. Love it. I love working with go getters. Yes, exactly. I love working with people who want to build their financial life. Now, you want to hear like the rude thing, the myth is that everybody has to approve of who you want to work with. No, they don't. No one has to approve of your avatar. No one has to approve of your contribution and your expertise. No one has to approve of you, except for maybe the people that you actually do want to work with, right? So I do take your approval seriously. Yes, you, Allison, you, Debbie, right? I take your approval pretty seriously. And so how do I do that? Well, when I do these live streams, I'm always thinking like, what's a question that she's asked me recently? What's a question she keeps struggling with? What's a question she keeps going to other coaches for whatever reason? I don't know. But I like to ask myself that question because I do like you and I want you to like what I do for you, right? And ideally you will like me as well along the way, right? But as a business owner, I'm thinking about what's called VOC, the voice of the customer or the voice of the client. Shout out VOC. Here's the thing. You don't need the approval of people that aren't your client. You just don't, right? And here's the truth. The reason why ideal client avatar, ideal client profile works so well is because you're speaking very directly to the person who does like you, which means that the people that don't won't listen, won't care, won't matter because they're never going to buy from you. They're never going to engage with you. They're never going to support you. So why are we bending over backwards to make everybody happy? You can't make everybody happy. Let me just ask you, is everybody around you happy now? Right? No. The short answer is no. So why are you killing your own happiness because you're so busy trying to appease and help everybody else? So that's the second big myth. Third big myth, and this drives me super crazy. I'm going to go like really counter here, but I actually don't think you need to have other people's credibility give you credibility. You don't need that, right? So there was a big launch this weekend of this new funnel thing where you can sell everybody else's products. And look, that's going to be right for some people. And I'm just so curious, like, do you consider yourself an affiliate marketer first, foremost, and that's your primary identity? That you're just like this person that sells everybody else's stuff, right? Now, I think that program could be cool if you're somebody who like here's how I could probably use that tool that was just launched. It was like a big ClickFunnels Russell Brunson thing. If I have someone in my network who I know is going to do a really good job of answering a fringe question for my people, right? So you can use this. Yeah, it was OfferLab. So this could be used if you have a core transformation. If you have a core transformation, there's probably related transformations that would be served by your collaborators. Okay. So I'll give you a really good example in my own business, right? So my core transformation is I'm taking somebody who is already an expert, who already serves and helps people with impact. I help you elevate your income. Okay. And I do that with your core message, with setting up a system for lead flow. But for some of you, you might want to do much deeper dive on sales, for example. Now, I teach sales too. I have sales programs. But let's say that you want to launch a sales team who's going to sell on your behalf. That's like a whole nother ball of wax. And there's no point in doing it until you've got your lead flow sorted, by the way. But like once you do and you start like enrolling setters and closers and people like that, I'm probably not the best person to learn that from right at this moment because my core transformation, I'm the best person to learn that from. Does that make sense? Right? Shout out, I'm the best in the chat for you. You're the best at the core transformation for your perfect person. So collaboration is great, but I think one of these big myths is that you've just got to have, like, you're not good enough is essentially it, and that you don't have something valuable to offer and that you can't be successful with an independent business. I am here to call BS on all that. You're not going to be successful because you built a bunch of different funnels. You're not going to be successful because you built a whole bunch of different ways for people to work with you or to find out about you. You're going to be successful because you genuinely help people. Okay, that's why. And most people just don't want to put themselves out there to risk that you weren't that helpful. And that one, my friend, I mean, I make it my business to make your business so easy. This is one of those things where it's like, you just have to risk it. You just have to risk that you're not the best. But the only way to become the best is to take the risk. You know, there's no way around it. There's only through it, right? Yeah, exactly. So you guys hear me saying like when I say like I'm the best, I have a real feeling about that I really am the best for my perfect person. It's like two. Do you guys hear how it's like two things? It's like I am the best for my perfect person. So it's like the transformation. Yes, I'm amazing at the transformation, but also I'm amazing at the transformation for the person that is really perfect to work with me. Because there's this chemistry. There's this thing that you bring to the table that if I try to do the exact same transformation with somebody who is not my ideal client avatar, my ideal client profile, it's probably going to fail. Why? Because the trust isn't there. The rapport isn't there. Because one of the things that makes you so great is your focus, your determination, your heart, right? And if like, I'll give you a perfect example. And I did make this mistake early on. So I'm telling you from data. I'm not telling you from like hypothesis. I mean, like for real, for real. I've worked with some people where they really didn't fit one of my ICPs, one of my ideal client profiles, but I was like, you know what? It's still the transformation though. Like they still want the same thing that these other people want. It's just that this person doesn't fit any of the other criteria. And I sold them. And it was like the most stressful. It was the most stressful client engagement because I just, we did not have a great chemistry. So even if I was giving them the right answer, mathematically speaking, their trust and their desire to put it into play and also their capacity to put it into play was at odds. So because of that, it just wasn't the best engagements. I know for me that was really surprising because I had heard from my mentors never sell to like a nightmare client. This person wasn't even like this engagement that I'm talking about. It wasn't even a nightmare client. It was just wasn't for me. Right. So it really is a question of alignment. It's not really a question of like that person's worthiness or my worthiness or anything like that. And I think that that's one of the biggest myths is you think that if you can't be successful with 100% of the people who ever interact with you, that it means that you are destined to not be supportive and helpful and have impact. Right? Or if you're like a lot of my clients, you know, did you know you can have more than one ICP? Right? More than one ideal client profile. So for some of you, you're wanting to serve multiple different markets. Maybe they're completely different in age or maybe completely different in objective, but the core expertise that you bring is relevant to both of those parties. You can have multiple ICPs, right? But what won't work is when you're working with somebody who's not ideal to work with you, right? Yes, yes, yes. So I actually have a couple of ideal client profiles. I also work with really, I tend to do more of my online and social media content for the more beginner level of an entrepreneur who's like establishing systems and they want to do a really good job in the beginning. But I also work with established experts who need to pivot and change their systems so they can make more money. It's a different avatar. It's a different person. Their concerns are a little bit different, but the solution that I bring, it's still the solution, it's still the answer. Does that make sense, you guys? Right? So, but the conversation has to be different with both. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk process because if we can get your process really working, it's going to make a huge difference. You're going to wind up with a wait list of people who cannot wait to work with you, but they're just going to have to. And I'm just going to pull up my whiteboard. And if you want to see the whiteboard, make sure you are a member of Clients Over Chaos because that is where I do all of the screen shares and the full show. Okay, here we go. Just like getting my computer screen all sorted out. Okay, here we go. Gonna share my screen. Y'all, I learned from you that I can't do it through my normal other. There we go. Tell me if this is clear, right? Can you let me know if you're in Clients Over Chaos? Can you just like let me know that this is clear? Okay, and we are talking about the client attraction flywheel. Okay, this is quite very possibly one of the most super cool things. Okay, I don't have OCD. You have OCD. Okay, so that is client attraction flywheel. Perfect, perfect. Okay, you see it. Okay, clear. Okay, amazing. Okay, now you get to watch my amazing artistic ability with this whiteboard. So let's give it a crack. Here's the flywheel, okay? We're going to start at the beginning with a lead magnet, okay? A lead magnet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have an enculturation community, right? Enculturation community. So I like the term ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem. So you right now are in the ecosystem. You are learning in the ecosystem. So what's the ecosystem? The ecosystem is my free community, the Clients Over Chaos. It's anybody who's following me on my social media. It's my email list, right? You're all in the ecosystem. And that ecosystem is free and low cost, right? So mainly free, maybe some low cost. And for most people, they meet me with the lead magnet. So just gonna draw this out here. And I want to expand your idea of a lead magnet. You've probably been taught that a lead magnet is like a PDF, and it can be, right? But I'm going to expand your idea a little bit. Lead magnet is the gift that you give someone because they met you. It's the gift that you gave someone because they met you. So when you go to a networking event, you're smiling at a stranger and you're accepting them and you're connecting with them. So the lead magnet could be literally your own magnetism. If you're like, what? No one ever told me that. Yeah, it's true. So in digital marketing speak, the way that we meet people or we magnetize people towards our brand is we lead with value. So we lead with value, with valuable content. It could be expanding on that valuable content and inviting into the ecosystem when we give them the PDF, the AI prompt, the spreadsheet, the template, the script. There's so many ways that you can lead with value, right? Another one that I have revived recently is called the Great Coaching Conversation. It's a Facebook group that I created, and the Facebook group itself is a lead magnet. It's totally free to join. And then when you join, you can contribute by asking questions or by like you can just participate in there. And I'll drop the link to the Facebook group in the chat if you're not already a member. And it's for coaches of all sorts. So if they are coaches and experts that are building a business, cool. If they are not yet ready to build a business, they're still building their identity as a coach. Great, amazing. So that's the lead magnet of the free Facebook group where people can contribute their expertise. Is this making sense? You know, it's the thing at the front where you're adding value and introducing. But here's the part that most coaches completely overlook is the ecosystem, right? Because they're in such a rush to do the third piece, which is the invitation to coaching, right? I'll call it a program because I have multiple different programs. I have the First Five Club, right? Which is just such a fun program. We love that program. But I also have the Expert Network, which is going to be evolving to the Level Up Academy. which is my group coaching community, my group coaching program. But the thing is like if I just went on the internet and I said, "Hi, my name's Amanda. I help you build a coaching or expert business, and you can trust me on that. Click here to sign up." Is that enough? Like honestly, if you saw that, would you accept that invitation to the program? Right? The answer is no, because scammers and spammers, they don't want to do the ecosystem. Just to give you kind of the visual there, like they don't want to do what they're trying to do is they're trying to rush. The reason why spammers and scammers don't feel good is they're trying to rush the decision to buy, right? Because all they care about is getting paid as soon as possible. And they don't care if you pay them again. They don't care if they get in trouble. They're just going to find it's just a pure numbers game. There's no relationship, there's no impact, there's no give a shit. Like it's total scam because what they're trying to do is they're trying to just go no value, no value, invitation, and they send enough of those that they get enough of a payoff that they don't bother with the rest of it. And it's gross and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, Allison says you have to build trust and rapport first. But how do you actually do it? Right? That's the main thing we work on in the Level Up program is we're leveling up your ecosystem. We're leveling up your presence on social media because the truth is that people can't appreciate your genius unless they see it, right? So shout out visibility. Yeah, I know. You're a Level Up alum. I love it. So if you don't have visibility, you're always going to be struggling to build this wait list because no one sees you. Another big mistake a lot of coaches make is they only market when they need a client. But remember when I just said, if you only market when you want to make money immediately, what does that make you look like? What does that make you look like? And coaches don't even realize they're doing it because from their perspective they're like, well, I want to be really efficient. I really want to like protect my time. I really want to, I really want I hate marketing. I don't like social media. I hate all of those things. So I'm going to be as minimal as possible with it. But then they end up looking like a scammer and they don't even know it, right? They don't realize that the number one issue with a scammer is the self orientation. It's very selfish, right? And I know that it's important as coaches that we have boundaries, but in my perspective, my boundary is I don't want to look like a scammer because I'm not a scammer. I don't want to bully somebody or trick someone into buying from me. I want them to buy from me because they receive genuine value and they want more. Y'all see this distinction? And if you agree with this perspective, let me know. The issue is that you oh God, I'm feeling really controversial on a Monday, but we're going to do it because I want you to genuinely be successful. I don't think that I am a rebel in some ways. Real talk. It is your responsibility to build balance in your life. It's not your job, it's not your business's responsibility to do that. So I think a lot of coaches are looking for the business to be this silver bullet for the problems in their life. Problems with not getting enough sleep, problems with not having enough help, problems with not feeling loved enough or feeling valued enough by people around you. And all of that is an inside job. That is an inside job. And I think that there's a lot of value in getting a coach to help you work through some of those things. But I see a lot of coaches take the work they're not doing on themselves and then project it onto the business. And here's the thing, the business is visibility, an opportunity, an offer, an invitation, and then you get to make money. That's it. That's all it is. It's not a magic pill. It's not a magic carpet. And I think like this stubbornness that most coaches really have towards not wanting to learn how to market or not wanting to do the work to figure out their message or not wanting to do the branding, it is the exact same force that is keeping coaches broke. It's keeping you broke, right? Business is a beautiful reason to activate your growth and to activate your own personal development. And the thing is that I have been so blessed and so excited to work with so many cool people over the years as a coach, but I couldn't run away from doing my own work. I had to manage my calendar. I couldn't put it on the business. I had to show up with the visibility. I couldn't put that on the business. So there's a lot of like personal stuff that I had to get through in order to become the coach that you see here before you. But my business is not me, the human. I, the human, have built the business. I, the human, had to protect my time to do it. I, the human, had to make the investment decisions that I made. And you know what? When I made decisions that ended up being bad investments, I had to own that too. And I had to master my fear. And I had to like go through all this. And I'm not sharing it with you because I want to whine and complain because I hate that. That's like the worst. It's because I think a lot of coaches are expecting magical marketing. They have magical thinking. They're like, well, if I just get very, very aligned and if I just feel good, then I'm going to get clients. And that's not true. That's not true. You feeling good and you getting clients, not connected, not connected, right? And people will tell you that it is. And those same people, just saying, it's a lot of scammers out there. It's a lot of scammers out there, and they can disguise their intention. And the only way for you to know somebody else's intention is to observe, to ask questions, to connect. And even then, you still won't know. So even then, you still won't know. The only intention you really get good visibility to, for real, is yours. Yours. Why are you doing this? Why are you building a business? Why are you tolerating all the BS from the non-ideal clients? Why are you learning the visibility? Why are you learning to show up in a new and a different way? Why are you challenging yourself to do something bigger and different? You know, what worked in 2017 as a coach doesn't work that great right now. I can't tell you how many amazing coaches, like seriously, like amazing behind the scenes coaches, are almost a secret because they have no visibility at all online. And they're literally telling me that they are earning 10% of what they used to. And yet these same agents of change are not making the pivot in this new world that we find ourselves in. And if you really want to help people, if you really want to have an impact, if that is genuinely where you're coming from, I'm here to tell you that mastery of change is absolutely an essential skill. And that's the only way you're going to build a wait list. It's showing up when you don't have to. It's showing up when you don't want to. It's showing up when you don't know if it's going to work or not. And it's still showing up. Right? Exactly. I appreciate you. Yes, I appreciate you. And hey, if you love kind of the real side of Amanda, I do try to be very real in what I do just generally, but I was like, how can I level this up? And I got something kind of cool for you. And if it's for you, great. If it's not for you, then that's awesome. Um, I have been invited to have a subscription on Facebook. So what the heck does that mean? Well, when you open up your Facebook, you're being presented with a post or content that Facebook is pretty confident you're going to love. And with a subscription model on Facebook, it means that you're signaling to Facebook, like, I really love hearing from Amanda. And so what I've decided to do, and this is so super cool, is I can choose to share content with subscribers only. And so what I've decided is I'm going to start sharing case studies and tests that I am specifically running in my business, but only on my Facebook subscription. And here's what's so crazy bananas about it. It's only 99 cents a month, right? 99 cents a month. And what it does is it'll just let you kind of curate to see my posts kind of early on and be able to see things that if I post those things on Facebook, they won't reach very far because only people who really care what I have to say on those things are really going to watch it. So it doesn't have like the same growth potential that a lot of my content really does. If you really want to know, like, what am I trying on my marketing? What am I trying? What am I changing in my business and why am I doing it? How am I dealing with all my balance and like talking about more of the family side of things? I'm putting all of that into the subscriber content on Facebook. Now, crazier than crazy. You can afford that? 99 cents? I love it. It's 99 cents US. So yes, you have to deal with the Canadian conversion. It's a personal profile. I think I've got the link here. Let me just see. I'll pull it up really quick. It's pretty great. If you go to K Facebook, okay. I think that's the link. So I'm just going to like click on it and think I can share this on the screen. Can I show it on the stream? Yes. So facebook.com/chat with Amanda Kaufman /subscribe. Yes. So this is what it'll look like. And you know it's me because I have no makeup and I'm just like giving you the real deal. There it is right there. Okay. So for the next 3 people that join, it's 50% off. So it's only 49 cents actually right now, but it's for the next 3 people. And so if that speaks to you and appeals to you, let me know. It just, yeah, it'll let me share content with you that I otherwise would not be sharing on the Facebook. But thank you so much for checking that out. And thank you so much for being here. So, what'd you love about today's session? What'd you love? I hope you loved the reminder that you're amazing, that you're doing this for all the right reasons. I hope that you love the reminder that people that are not your ideal client avatar, they don't need to have a say. That really your service will be rewarded the more that you allow yourself to focus on that service and you do it with the visibility. Yeah, the rebel. So good. The make sure that you're making these regular invitations, right? So I just gave you an example of a low barrier to entry invitation. So you can do low barrier entry invitations and just don't expect everybody to accept the invitation, but you can expect if you never make the invitation, nobody's going to sign up. Yes, I love it. You're in for 69 cents. Amazing, amazing. I have to tell you, like, although this is a paid product and it's not a very high barrier to entry, I'm so excited about it because I know that there's going to be so much value for you in that. So you can like watch for exclusive lives that are just for the subscribers. You can watch for stories that are for you only, which is like so super cool, and posts that I share with you that are just for the subscribers. So I'm super super pumped. Yeah. Yeah. If it's not working, just like hit refresh, try again, maybe try it from mobile, and feel free to DM me the word subscribe in Messenger and I can send it to you from my phone as well. Don't refresh because it does work. That's a good tip, Debbie. Thank you so much. Yeah, it might just take a minute because I know Allison, you are outside of the US, so it might just take a minute for it to be like getting with the program. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that share, Debbie. Oh my gosh, you're such a great community member. She's always looking out for everybody in the community, and that's super cool. All right, you guys, I'll be back next week. And as always, we've got a topic already lined up for you. We're going to be talking about embracing your role as a leader, the courage to coach. So we've talked a lot today about the show up and the why. Next week, we're going to keep going with this conversation, but we're going to talk about your identity as a coach. How do you really embody that so that it's no problem to send the emails? It's no problem to pick up the phone. It's no problem to make the invitations and the offer because you are really aligned as the coach leader that you are. So I'm really excited for next week. Are you guys pretty pumped for next week's live? We're going to be right back here and it's going to be great. So make sure you add it to your calendar. And hey, can you do me a favor? If this was genuinely helpful to you, can you grab the link next5clients.com, next5clients.com, and share it with 3 of your coachy friends? Because they need to know that this is possible. They need to know it's harder than it looks, but it's not impossible. It does just require systems. It requires the support, the accountability. It requires the community. If you send them to next5clients.com, it'll redirect them directly to the Clients Over Chaos community. That's where they're going to get access to the 5-video training. You might remember doing it. It was just 5 videos, only 10 minutes each, that were teaching exactly what to focus on to get your first or next 5 clients. That's completely free. And all they have to do is get it done within 5 days of joining the free group to stay in the group. And the reason why we do that, by the way, is it really helps us with moderating the group. that group is full of amazing experts that are genuinely good at what they do, because the spammers and the scammers, they get kicked out because they don't do the videos, right? So it's pretty geeky. Oh yeah, if you want to be an affiliate, you absolutely can. We do have a registration process for that, because you're going to need the unique link to be able to share that with them. So if you're not already an affiliate, make sure you sign up to be one, because if they do decide to enroll with us with a program using your link, then that ends up paying out in a lovely way to you. All right, my friends, thank you so much. Thank you for telling me what you need. I always really, really appreciate it. And I hope that you have an amazing week ahead, and we will see you in another call. See you soon.